Now that the Philadelphia Union season is finally over, it is time now to look back at the season. At the beginning of the year, I made a preview video for my predictions of what the Philadelphia Union would do in the 2019 MLS season. And today we are going to look back at that episode, see what I said, but what you will tell is that throughout the season, my Posidelphia mentality has never faded. So sit back and hang tight, guys, as we look back at my season preview episode, as well as review the 2019 Philadelphia Union season. And it's all coming up next, my pedals. Done it! Alright guys, welcome to DOOP By The River, the show where we follow everything Philadelphia Union with me, El Parceo Philly. And if this is the first time you're tuning in to DOOP By The River, or if you're returning back, I just want to say thank you for tuning in. But please guys, the goal here is to grow this channel, and we are trying to do the impossible. We want to hit 200 subscribers for the start of the 2020 year. Union fans, there is a lot of excitement heading into this season. For the first time in a very long time, we have a lot of expectations and high hopes for our Union. And of course, we have to look at the roster moves that the Union have made this offseason. Starting with the out players, top of that list, the biggest loss I feel was losing Borek Dorchkow. He was only here on a one-year loan, and it seems as if we couldn't reach an agreement with his Chinese club, and he looks like he is heading back to Europe where he wants to be. We also lost Keegan Rosenberry. He was sent over in a trade to Colorado for allocation money. That is still a move to be determined. Obviously, he was a huge leader in the locker room and was one of the clogs in the back line. He was huge for us in many occasions. So he will. We'll talk about that position that he left later, but that was definitely a big loss as well. We lost Marcus Epps, who we didn't pick up his option. He is going on to New York Red Bull. Fabian Herbers got traded to Chicago Fire. And Jay Simpson, the Brit everyone loved to hate, is heading back home to England to 5th Division Leyton Orient. As far as the newcomers for the Union, on top of the list, this man needs no introduction. Marco Fabian comes over here to Philly from Eintracht Frankfurt, which was the huge signing not only for the Union, but for the MLS in general this offseason. As well, we got forward Sergio Santos Gomes from Audax Italiano in the Chilean leagues. He will come in to play forward. As well, we got Guy Wagner, a defenseman from Wolfsburg Kickers, a German 21-year-old international. And last but not least, Aurelien Collin, a guy who's been a MLS journeyman. He's coming from our rival NYRB. And of course, this guy is going to come in for some great veteran leadership as well. The Union absolutely won the offseason, replacing players with better players. You lose Jay Simpson, what do? You replace him with a 16-goal forward over in the Chilean league. It's Sergio Santos Gomes. Borek Dorchkow's not coming back. Who do you replace him with? A Mexican international, Marco Fabian, who's coming over from Bundesliga. You lose Keegan Rosenberry to a trade. We'll see what Kai Wagner, but Kai Wagner is a guy who played in the German soccer system, which we know is, no slouch of a league. As well as bringing Aurelien Collin, who's a very underrated signing. This is a guy who's played for Sporting KC, New York Red Bull, two franchises who are doing things right in the MLS. And he's only going to bring over that veteran leadership over here to Philly. Overall, I would say the Union did win the offseason. When you think about it, Kai Wagner was probably the best signing from this class of the offseason. Sergio Santos Gomes is looking promising right now. Marco Fabian, didn't have so much of an impact throughout the regular season, but did have the game-winning goal against the Red Bull, and as well as was huge off the field for the Latino, especially the Mexican community here in Philadelphia. As well as Jamiro Montero, who was a signing that happened in the season. Now, the other signing that happened in the season, Andrew Vugan, jury's still out on him. Kai Wagner had to have been the most underrated signing in the MLS offseason last season. This year, he proved himself to be one of the best fullbacks in the MLS, if not top 10. And when we look at the positional breakdown for the Philadelphia Union, of course, we got to start with the goalkeepers. And at the top, this man needs no introduction. Andre Blake. He's been our starting goalkeeper for the past 4 seasons, and he's going into his 5th season. This is a crucial year for him. He's been here he's going into his 5th season. It's time now for Andre to take that next step. This guy, I would like to see him play at some sort of European league. And I believe we're going to see a huge season for Andre as he's playing with the best team he's played with in a Philadelphia Union uniform. And of course, this summer is the Gold Cup. And Andre Blake, of course, will represent his country, Jamaica, as the goalkeeper. So the question is, what will the Union do in his absence? He could miss up to a month. So the Union did actually go out and sign a backup goalie for that situation, of course. The Union are bringing over Carlos Miguel Colonel. He's a Brazilian goalkeeper who last played for RB Salzburg in the Austrian league. Obviously, Ernst Tanner is familiar with him. He did work under the RB systems, and he is familiar with Colonel. He should be a great addition and a great substitution for Andre Blake when he's over at the Gold Cup. But as well, behind Colonel, the Union have been making some homegrown signings this offseason, and one of the first ones was Matt Fries. He's a 18-year-old goalkeeper from the area here in Philadelphia, and the Union have high hopes for him as well. But obviously, he's still too young and cannot be plugged in right away. So he will be our 3rd goalkeeper, and when the time comes, he will be ready. Now, when we talk about the goalie position for the Philadelphia Union, we've been blessed with the consistency we have seen in that position the past couple seasons. And obviously, that's large part and due with Andre Blake. He's been our rock. He's been a leader back there between the pipes. Unfortunately, however, Andre Blake has definitely this season proved to all of us fear we all had. We all want to see Andre Blake play over in Europe. He's worked his ass off. He's shown us at times that he has the capability of playing at that level. Unfortunately, though, this year, this wasn't a season where we saw him go up. He definitely stayed at the same level we have seen him the past 2-3 years. He did play 26 matches and allowed 41 goals. It was better than last year, but he did play 33 matches and allowed 50 goals in 2018. Still for Andre, from what I saw throughout the season, especially at the end of the year, when you have to play the best, you have to have that hot goalie in order to go through the playoffs. Andre Blake proved to me that he is at best an MLS starting caliber goalie. And that's okay, guys, because, I'm not going to mind seeing Andre Blake finish his career out with the Philadelphia Union, but would love to have seen him play in some smaller European league, like a championship, a Bundesliga 2, the Scottish Premier League, something like that. But hey, Andre, we still love you, and we still hope you can be the Andre Blake we all know. Now, guys, this year we saw the emergence of a homegrown player in between the pipes, and that was Matt Fries. He stepped up and showed he is ready for the MLS. While Andre Blake was hurt this year, we saw him get some playing time, and he stepped up. He's still a little raw, still needs a lot of seasoning on him. We saw some promise from him this year. So much so that the Union decided to cut Carlos Coronel's loan spell from RB Salzburg a little shorter. Although Carlos was playing really good for us as well in those couple matches he played for us, Matt Fries proved to you he is the backup goalie for now, and hopefully the goalie of the future for us. After Coronel left, we went out and got Bendick from Columbus Crew to fill in for that 3rd goalie position and didn't really see any minutes at all as a starting goalie for the Union. Now, looking at the back line, we got to start with the fullback position because that's where the most questions are at. At the left fullback position, it's expected that Matt Rial get the start. He will miss some time, though, in the Under-20 World Cups come around May or June. So that'll be the time for Kai Wagner to shine. As well as Fabinho will also be on the roster, but he is looking like not to see a lot of minutes this season as he is transitioning to be one of our next youth coaches. On the right side, it's expected we'll see Ray Gaddis over there. That is the position he's more comfortable with, the right fullback position. Until Olivier Mbazio can finally develop and take over that role. He has high expectations as well. When looking at the center back position, this is the strongest area for the Union. With the starting center backs, we have Mark McKenzie and Austin Trusty, 2 guys that are right now in the U.S. youth system. They'll more likely play in the U20 World Cup as well. Looking at the backups as well, starting with Jack Elliott, he's still a quality center back as well, going into his 2nd season with us. And of course, like I mentioned, Aurelien Colin, will be the backup as well. He'll bring his veteran leadership, and he knows a thing or two about the league. All right, when it comes to the back line, we saw a lot of different things happen. Now, before the season started, I really wanted to see Matt Rial, Mark McKenzie, Austin Trusty, and Ray Gaddis as the back line, but a lot of things definitely happened. Now, let's start off with Matt Rial. This is a guy who's been a homegrown player, who's been through our system for a couple years now. For 2 seasons, we have waited for him to take that next step and finally solidify the left fullback position. This guy has been a constant call-up by the U.S. men's national team. Still cannot find a way to get the starting job here in Philadelphia. Unfortunately, this year, Kai Wagner came out of nowhere as one of the best new faces in the MLS this season and really made Matt Rial's job hard to take that position back. He did see some minutes this season, also saw some U.S. Open Cup minutes. Mostly we saw him down in Bethlehem playing with the Bethlehem Steel, and I don't know what's going to happen with him next season. Kai Wagner is here to stay next year, and Matt Rial is going to probably be the backup. Now with the center backs position, this is where we saw a lot of different things happen. Beginning of the season, Mark McKenzie was not fit enough to play, so we saw Austin Trusty and Jack Elliott were the main clogs for the center back position. Austin Trusty had a good first half of the season. It looked like he had improved. Unfortunately, though, there was a stretch of matches in June where Austin really wasn't himself and lost his confidence. So bad that he lost his job. Jim Kirchin would put Aurelien Collin for a couple of matches, and then Mark McKenzie showed up big. He, in training, showed Jim Kirchin that deserves some minutes back at the center back position. And at the end of August, Mark McKenzie finally got his job back at the center back position and never let it go. And Jack Elliott, my man, Jack Elliott took another step this year, even got a contract extension in the summertime, and has solidified his job as our #1 center back on this team. I can't wait to see his progression next year. But man, Jack Elliott is here to stay. The center back position, guys, proved this year how deep it is. But these guys are young, and that Atlanta playoff match, you saw they still had room to grow. I'm so excited to see where the center backs go next season, because this year was really fun to watch them. And then there's Ray Gaddis. We already discussed when we talked about Keegan Rosenberry's departure. It was Ray Gaddis' job to take on that right fullback position until we could finally find someone who could be the right fullback of the future. Ray Gaddis played all season long, and Ray really brings energy, positivity, and veteran leadership that you really need. He's not the most talented, he's not the biggest, but he fights hard every match. He still hasn't gotten that goal we all want him to get, but the Union still haven't found that guy at the right fullback position. Olivier Bazier, we will see what happens next year, but he did not solidify the position this year. They did also bring in RJ Allen last summer when Olivier Bazier went down with some injuries and we needed a backup fullback. Still got to keep our eyes out for that position. Midfield is where we start seeing a lot of changes in this squad. The Union are switching from a 4-2-3-1 heavy possession-based system to a 4-4-2 diamond with high pressing. And instead of seeing those 2 central defensive midfielders, we're only going to see 1, and more than likely we'll see Harris Medunian there. As far as the left midfielder goes, will be interesting to see, and that's probably going to come down to our first match in Toronto, see who's going to be the guy. I personally think it's going to be Derek Jones for right now, but there are some heavy talks that Brandon Aronson, our homegrown player, could possibly start there as well. On the right side, I believe that Alejandro Bedoya has concreted that position. That will be where we will see him the most. We can't also forget about Warren Crayvell as well. I think you're going to see him all over the midfield, from the left, right, and even the central defensive midfield to the 6th position. I believe we'll see him all over as well. At the number 10 position, that's where we will see Marco Fabian. I believe he's replacing Borek Dochkal. He's going to be dangerous this year. I believe our attack is going to flow through him. I expect a lot of assists and maybe a couple of long-range goals this year too, hopefully. Anthony Fontana is expected to have a big role as well. I expect him to be the backup behind Marco Fabian. And I want to see him learn as much as he can from Marco. This is the perfect situation for him. Wow, I really had Derek Jones starting as that left shuttle midfielder before the season started. Man, that did not go the way I wanted it to. Now, Brandon Aronson, we all knew, was a homegrown signee last year in 2018. Now, in training camp for this season, he definitely turned some heads. He worked his ass off so hard that Jim Kirchin noticed that this is a guy that could possibly start for this team this season. And one of the reasons why is that he outshined Derrick Jones, and that definitely affected Derrick Jones' confidence. Derrick Jones would be moved on early in the season as he was traded to Nashville SC. So we'll see. So now he has the opportunity to stay in the MLS, but this season he played in USL. I don't know if he is going to play for Nashville when they do move to the MLS, but definitely, sad to see a homegrown player leave like that. Brenden Aaronson, what can we say about Brenden? The guy started in that third match against Atlanta, and he never looked back. He had a great season, should have won Rookie of the Year, but the development of Brenden Aaronson was such a pleasure to watch all season long. And watching him finally become a man in that Red Bull match where he actually looked aggressive and made some plays. This is going to be a huge offseason for Brenden Aaronson as well. Continue, training, continue working on your body, trying to get bigger. He's going to be something special, guys. I'm telling you. We are only seeing the beginning of what Brenden Aaronson could be. All right, when we're talking about Harrison Medunian and Alejandro Bedoya, two guys have been great additions to our team. Warren Crable did not see much of the pitches he wanted to this season. Obviously, right before Gold Cup, he suffered an injury with his country, Guyana. Missed some crucial time, but in the beginning of August, we saw him get some more minutes. And, he showed you an attacking game from him. He's always been that defensive shuttle midfielder, but he showed you a little bit of spark of attack this season by him. We didn't get Jamiro Monteiro until after the season started, so he was not added into my preview of the season here. But Jamiro Monteiro was a huge impact for the Philadelphia Union. What he delivered for us, the versatility, being able to play all four positions of that midfield, the skill he demonstrated. He was an absolute underrated signing by Ernst Tanner. Now the question is going to be whether or not if he will come back next season or pull Borg Dochkow and play somewhere in Europe. But I really hope he's back because he was an important part of this Union team this year. Now here's the thing with Anthony Fontana. I definitely saw some improvements from Anthony Fontana. It might just be because he's young, but he definitely deserves more minutes. We're in the middle of the summer. Jim Kirchin did put him out there, but I guess once Marco Fabian got healthy, Jamiro Monteiro got healthy, he just lost his minutes. I think next year is definitely make or break season for Anthony Fontana. He's almost going to be 21 now. He's been with the Union. Next year he'll be in his third season with the Philadelphia Union. It's your time, buddy. It's your time.
And up top, it's where it gets the most exciting. We are going to have two forwards this year, not just one. So it means more attack, hopefully. And there's after the CJ Sapong trade, there's a little less of a logjam. But the starting forwards, I believe we will see Fafa Piccolo and Sergio Santos Gomes up top to start it off. Those are the two guys I believe are the most explosive and give us the best opportunity to win. Obviously, we have Corey Burke. He had a great season last year, coming out of nowhere, and he's relatively a cheap option. So this is a big season for him. Let's hope he can play hard and get paid finally. We also have David Akam, who had a down season last year, mainly plagued with injuries, but this will be a big season for him to step up. He's going to get his opportunities, and he has to take advantage of those. And lastly, we have Kasper Brezbilko, who mostly we will see more as a depth option. Obviously, Corey Burke will be joining Andre Blake in the Jamaican squad for the Gold Cup this summer, so expect him to get some quality minutes in the summertime. Well, we shall see what he has. I don't know much about him, but hopefully we can get some sort of gem out of him.
Wow, so the forward position was a fun ride all season long. We started the season off with Fafa Pico and Corey Burke being the starter. Let's start off with Corey Burke. Unfortunately, due to visa paperwork issues, he had to go back to Jamaica and settle that issue. It happened really early in the season, and we were told that it would only take 3 months, but realistically, situations like that, they take a while, and he wound up missing the entire season here. He did get loaned out to play in Jamaica, his local club in Jamaica, to at least, stay fresh. But, I hope Corey Burke can come back next season because My man worked his ass off from playing in Lone Star to playing with Bethlehem Steel to making it onto the first team of the Philadelphia Union. And he had a good 2018 season. He deserves a chance here in the MLS. I hope he really comes back. Fafa Pico, I think his 2018 season was a little bit better, but there was a lot more talent on this Union team here in 2019, but he still had a big impact. As a player on the field, as a veteran, his speed that he has, man, he is one of the fastest players in the MLS, and it is hard to contain a guy like that. Fafa's got some contract issues as well. He may well not come back next year. We will discuss that in a little bit, but good season by Fafa. David Accam had a memorable match against the Columbus Crew early. The season was the 4th match of the year. However, shortly after that, where he had 2 goals, they dedicated those goals to his father. Unfortunately, after that, he would be dealt to the Columbus Crew, who then sold him off to Nashville. You know, for us, it made sense to get rid of him. He was making a pretty penny, and we had such a logjam up top that, you know, it made it, Columbus had a need for a forward, and we just dealt him away. But, you know, David gave us 2 seasons here in Philadelphia. Some good, some bad, but, you know, best of luck to David Accam for real. It's been a while since we talked about him. And, of course, Kasper Shabilko, the friendly striker. My man legit came out of nowhere and had himself a season. In his first season as a full-time striker, he almost beat CJ Sapong's record of most goals in a single season. He finished the season off with 15 goals in 26 matches. Unfortunately, however, we all know Kasper's injuries at the end of the year. He suffered a foot injury in the warm-ups in that last match against NYCFC, and that foot injury proved to be severe. He would miss the Red Bull match, as well as not being able to play against Atlanta. And we will see what happens in the summer. We will all keep an eye out for him. But it is very crucial that Kasper stays healthy all throughout the season. Throughout the year, we saw how difficult it is for us to score goals when he's not out there. He is an absolute threat in the box. He is a natural born goal scorer. And he was definitely a rough in the diamond that Ernst Tanner found in Germany. Hopefully he gets healthy this offseason. And next year, we're going to have to track his minutes, not play him as much as we need to, because we need Kasper for the playoffs. The Union in the middle of the summer also did bring in Andrew Wooten from Bundesliga 2 as well. A guy who scored goals over in Germany. We thought him coming over here, he would continue that production here in Philadelphia. Fortunately, it was tough for him to get on the pitch. He had a tough time finding minutes. And when he was on the field, really wasn't much of an impact. He did display some, his skills off the ball, knowing where to move to create open spaces for other players to attack. But Andrew was brought here for one reason and one reason only: to score goals. All eyes will be on him next season. If he does not do what we brought him here to do, he's going to be gone by 2021. Pretty disappointed with Andrew Wooten, not gonna lie to you.
And the main question I have is for Insigne. We know his skills. We know he's talented. Obviously, fitness has been an issue for him. But will the Union play him in the midfield? Will they play him up top? He's pretty versatile, but the only issue is you're only going to get about 20, 30 good minutes out of him. So I expect him this year to be a super sub, but I will be interested to see where Kirchin plays him in this new system for the Union.
The legend of Ilsinho continued his mark with the Philadelphia Union this season. He gave us so many memorable moments. He definitely by far has made a name for himself with this club here. Obviously, the Red Bull match in the summertime comes to everyone's mind, but he also demonstrated a little bit more durability this season. He did get hurt in the middle of the summer, but Jim really did maintain his minutes, and when he was needed, Jim had him to use. Thank you, Ilsinho.
And the last thing we'll talk about with the roster, and probably the most important part, is our coach. And that's Jim Kirchin. He's heading into his 6th season as our coach now. It's a long time, and this is the make or break season for Jim, honestly. Making the playoffs isn't the standard anymore. We have made the playoffs 4 times in franchise history now. It's time to start winning playoff matches. For Kirchin, the goal is not only to make the playoffs, but to win that match. I'm a Kirchin guy. I'm a fan of him. But he's got to prove he is the right guy for us this season. And that'll only be determined by the wins.
Man, honestly, what can I say about Jim? First off, guys, Jim is an absolute amazing human being. You ask any of those guys in that dressing room, they will put their life out on the line for this guy. And Jim cares so much about this Philadelphia community, you guys don't even realize. Seeing Jim take that next step and look like a top-tier MLS manager this season was such a thrill to watch. He has continuously evolved year in and year out since he's been named the manager of the Philadelphia Union and was awarded with a contract extension as well. We will continue seeing Jim Kirchin. But his accomplishments this year, from all the homegrowns he's brought up, from in 2018 getting 50 points in the standings, to this year getting 55 points in the standings, making the right adjustments in second halves to win games. He's been able to get the most out of this team. I'm so excited to see what, with more talent added to his team, what Jim Kirch is going to do. And also, how can we not forget, Jim got the monkey off our back. We finally got a playoff win in Philadelphia, and that's part and due to Jim Kirchin's work. But he has stamped his mark as a top 10 manager in the MLS. Jim, from Parceo Philly, we thank you.
As far as how I see this season going, I believe the Union will be one of the better teams in the East. We're looking at a much weaker Eastern Conference. A lot of teams are going through turnovers. We've lost a couple stars in the Eastern Conference, and there's a couple of teams who just need to prove themselves. But in the end, I believe the Union will be an improvement from last season, obviously, but I will go over their positioning in my MLS predictions, but I wouldn't be surprised if the Union had 5 or 10 extra points from last season. So we're looking at 55 to 60 points for this team, and most years that'll get you the second or third seed in the playoffs, and that's around where I see the Union doing. This is a quality squad. This is a squad with not only just depth, but this is a team that plays together.
55 to 60 points, second to third best team in the East. It's a pretty damn good prediction by me. So when we look at this Philadelphia Union team in the 2019 season, we look at it from the first match in Talent Energy against Toronto FC, where we lost 3-1, to the last match of the year where we lost 2-0 to Atlanta United in the semifinals. And you look at all the matches in between. You saw a team throughout the season, number one, played as a unit, as one team. Week in and week out, it was Philly or nothing. And it didn't matter who was in the line. These guys were going to go out there, play Philly Union soccer, and get those fucking points. When adversity hit this team, they didn't let it get to them. Instead, they found a way to overcome these adversities. And all the comebacks this team had this year, whether it be the Red Bull game, the Minnesota United game, the Toronto FC game at Toronto FC, the Atlanta game at home, or the playoff match against the Red Bull. This team played 90 minutes for each match. We were able to get the monkey off our back by winning our first ever playoff match. We took the next step of getting 55 points in the season, the most ever in franchise history. Guys, I'm nothing but proud of my Philadelphia Union. They made such huge steps this season. Honestly, you can't be mad. Now, looking ahead at this team, there's some big questions in the offseason. You got to improve this team. This is a team that made it to the MLS semifinals, so you're getting closer. Year in, year out that Jim Kirch is here, you're getting better and better. Now Ernst's job's getting harder because now we got it. Now next year the expectation is get to the Eastern Conference Finals, if not the MLS Cup Final. That's not a far-fetched prediction there. But obviously, guys, you know, when you look at this roster, what's going to happen at that right fullback position? Ray Gaddis is not the future at that position. You got to look at what to do there for the future. In the midfield, as much as Harris Medunian and Alejandro Bedoya played well, and our fan favorites and team favorites, to be quite honest, those guys aren't getting any younger. What's going to happen when those guys are gone? Who's going to replace those two? I'd like to see younger players take over for those two guys, but you got to start thinking about that. Jamiro Monteiro, what's going to happen? Is he going to be back? My guess, and if I had to bet on it, he won't be back next year. So now you got to find someone who's going to replace that production that he brought. Elsinho will also be here as well. But the big question mark here, guys, is Marco Fabian. Is he going to be back? Did the Union see enough to believe that he should be back here in blue and gold? My money, my guess, he won't be back next year. There's nothing that justifies paying Marco almost $3 million to play a couple games in a season. I appreciate what he did for us. He brought a Latino awareness for us. I've never seen so many Mexicans at Talent Energy in 10 years. Now I definitely want to see the Union start attacking the Mexican market more. Go down to Mexico, see what players from the not so bigger clubs, see what talent's down there, see if you can bring them here to Philly. There's serious talent in Mexico, guys. You got to attack that. But Marco, don't think he will be back. Now, when you look at the forwards, Sergio Santos Gomez will definitely be back. And I definitely think after finishing the 2019 season so strong, 2020 is going to be an even better season for him. Andrew Wooten, we've discussed already. Man, you need to step it up next year, Andrew. This is going to be a crucial year for you. I really want him to pan out. I definitely think the MLS was catered to him. I really want to see if he can do it. Kasper Schmeichel, as we discussed, stay healthy, Kasper. Stay healthy. Recover that foot. And I want them to monitor those minutes. He does not need to be playing every match, especially if you got a forward group that is pretty deep. We'll see what's going on with Corey Burke. He might miss the beginning of next season as well, but I really hope that he can be back at some point next year. Now, the real question mark here, guys. Fafa Pico. Guys, I love Fafa. You know, what he brings to this team, to this city is something that, you know, is unexplainable. He's perfect for Philadelphia. He's an underdog. My man's got flair. My man's got sabor. Like, I don't want to see him go. The only way I see him leaving is if there is a club in Liga MX who sees, you know, Fafa as a serious talent and wants to pay him more money, then I think he will pack his bags and head over to Mexico. But with his speed, he's definitely catered to the Mexican league. It's a fast-ass fucking league. But I think that's the only way he leaves Philadelphia. But I really hope he stays. But that's another thing we have to keep an eye out. I definitely think the Union are going to be shopping for 2 to 3 midfielders. I don't think they will go looking for another forward unless Fafa does actually leave. But honestly, guys, I said this last year too. I really want the Union to continue, you know, signings like Kai Wagner, signings like Sergio Santos Gomez and Kasper Schmeichel. I know Ernst has said, you know, hasn't really gone too much to South America, but Ernst, go to South America. There is a shitload of talent just waiting for you to sign them. Just give it a chance. If you need me, we will go down to Colombia together. We will go all over the country of Colombia. We can find ourselves a couple good pieces to bring back here to Philly. Trust me. But in the comments below, guys, let me know what you really want to see this offseason. What moves will happen and what moves won't happen for the Philadelphia Union. Let me know in the comments below. But guys, that was my review over the Union season. And what a great season it was, guys. It's so unfortunate that it really ended too soon for us, but you can really be nothing but proud of this team. And guys, our future is even brighter. Things are going to get better here for the Philadelphia Union. Just stay tuned. In the comments below, guys, let me know what your thoughts were of the Union's 2019 season. What was your favorite moment of the 2019 season as well? Let me know in the comments below. But thank you so much for watching, guys. And if you liked what you saw, please help me grow this channel here. We're trying to do the impossible. I'll be reaching 200 subscribers by the beginning of 2020, and I need your guys' help for that. Help me out here. Like this video, subscribe to the channel, hit the bell button for notifications, and share this video as well as this channel. But until next time, my duperos, El Parceo Philly is checking out.